benefits of spices are indisputable. Aside from improving the taste of our food, spices are rich in volatile oils which improve digestion and also support other systems in the body. Plus, they have antimicrobial properties and have long been used in food preservation methods like drying and pickling. Spices often go hand in hand with herbs. The difference between the two is that herbs are leaves and young stems of plants, while spices are the dried plants other than leaves. It's true that many herbs have a spicy taste, but they are no true spices. In other words, pepper is a berry, cloves are young flower buds, cardamom is a fruit, and cinnamon is made from the bark of the cinnamon tree. Nothing like herbs, spices typically grow in the tropical and subtropical regions, which makes it rather difficult to grow them in continental climates. What makes the entire idea even more challenging is the fact that some spices come from mature trees. On the plus side, some low-growing spices, such as ginger and turmeric, can actually thrive in the heated interiors of our homes. We provide useful tips on how to grow some spices at home. 1. Ginger. Ginger is the ample stem or rhizome of a perennial plant, Zingiber officinale, although we commonly refer to it as ginger root. It first appeared in South China, and soon afterwards in other tropical regions, such as West Africa and India. From here, it spread to Britain and other European countries. Today, ginger is commonly used in everything from savory curries to confectionery and baked goods. Many use it in herbal teas as well because of its strong therapeutic effects. How to grow ginger. To start with, get several 1 to 2 inch pieces of ginger root that contains, at least, one eye or growing bud. The new root will grow from this. Next, fill a large tub with rich, well-draining potting mix, then lay the ginger pieces 6 inches apart on top of the tub. Cover them with an inch of sand, pressing down firmly. You should keep the tub in a well-lit area or under grow lights. The rhizomes should be watered regularly once the soil dries and fertilized once in 2 weeks. A general-purpose fertilizer will do. If you grow ginger indoors, you can treat it as a perennial. Each time you need some ginger, simply dig into the soil and break off only as much of the rhizome as you need. Ginger can also be grown outdoors, but for this you need a very sunny location. Regular water supply and proper drainage are also very important. If planted in early spring, it sends up aerial stems throughout the summer. However, the leaves will probably start to yellow in fall. Ginger grown outdoors is best defined as an annual because winter frost will rot the rhizomes. What you do is dig up the entire plant, shake off the soil, and harvest the rhizome by removing the aerial stems. What you can do with the harvested ginger is dry, candy, or pickle it for future use. Dried ginger is easily made dipping the rhizomes in boiling water, skinning and slicing them before letting them dry in the shade. You store the dry pieces of ginger in airtight jars or grind them into ginger powder, which can easily use for baking goods. You can also effectively treat cough with a mixture of ginger powder and honey. You need syrup to make candied ginger, and vinegar for pickled one. When consumed in small quantities, both candies and pickled ginger can relieve nausea and improve digestion. 2. Turmeric. Aside from its golden yellow color, turmeric also adds a spicy flavor to condiments and curries. Native to India, curcuma longa can be grown indoors similarly to ginger. This spice has powerful antimicrobial and anti-cancer properties, which should be a good enough reason for you to consider growing it at home. How to grow turmeric. Finding planting material for turmeric can be quite hard, as this spice is commonly sold as a powder. But, if you can get several pieces of the rhizome just to start with, they will grow every year, leaving you with an abundance of the root. As with ginger, stick pieces of turmeric into tubs or pots of the well-draining potting mix. Cover these with an inch of soil and water well. Turmeric requires a lot of light in order for the large emerging leaves to have a lush green look. You can also grow turmeric outdoors. Ideally, you should double-till the beds to enable good root run and drainage. The best time for harvest is the fall, when the leaves start to wither. Once you harvest the rhizomes, boil them for 35 to 45 minutes then dry. This doesn't only intensify the color, but also increases turmeric shelf life. You can simply store the dried stems or crush them into powder. Turmeric can add color to your mustard and other homemade sauces. You can also use it for deep frying. If you are dealing with mouth ulcers, a pinch of turmeric applied topically will speed up healing. 3. Coriander. Coriander can refer to both the herb and a spice. Chinese, Indian and Mexican cuisines use the leaves of the Coriandrum sativum plant or Chinese parsley in abundance. The spice is made of the dried seeds of the same plant. It's very different in taste though. How to grow coriander. This plant grows very quickly and you can grow it indoors at any time of year. If you want to grow it from seeds, start by rubbing the coriander seeds between the palms of the hand so as to break them into halves. You can plant 3 to 4 of these in large pots. Make sure the soil is evenly moist. There will be simple leaves with uneven edges at first, but as the plant grows, finely divided lacy leaves will appear. When the seedlings fall over, just cover their bases with more soil and pat down. Coriander thrives in cool weather, so you can plant it early in spring or even in fall where climates are milder. If you grow it outdoors, it thrives only during the cool temperatures. When temperatures rise, the plant bolts and sends up a long stem that carries the flowers which would eventually turn into coriander seeds. You can also stimulate bolting in the indoor plants by diminishing water. The flowers will then develop into green globular fruits. You harvest these by cutting the entire stem and placing them in a large brown paper cover to dry. The fruits will eventually detach. The next step is drying them in the sun then storing them in dry jars. Grind the dry coriander seeds into powder. You can also toast them lightly to get a nutty flavor. 4. Cumin. Native to the Mediterranean, cumin is one of the most popular spices worldwide. One of the advantages of cumin is that it can easily be grown outdoors. How to grow cumin. You can sow the cumin seeds indoors in large pots or in the garden in a sunny location. Good drainage is as important as keeping the soil moist. It normally takes 4 to 5 months from sprouting to harvest, although heat and drought can reduce the growth phase. The clusters of tiny elongated fruits that grow from the small flowers should be harvested before they fall off the plant. Next, you dry the flower heads in large paper bags until the fruits fall off. Dry them in the sun and clean them by winnowing. You can use the dried cumin whole or ground into powder. To enhance the flavor, roast the cumin before grinding. 5. Garlic. Garlic or Allium sativum is a low-maintenance vegetable that can be easily grown indoors or outdoors. The only thing you need to do is separate the cloves and stick them into moist, well-draining soil. How to grow garlic. If you opt for planting the bulbs outdoors, the best time is in the fall, while indoor planting can be done any time of the year. The thing is, the longer they grow, the more time the plant has to develop good-sized bulbs. Make sure you keep the soil evenly moist. Good drainage is also important as waterlogging can make the bulb rot. You can use garlic leaves as a herb. The best time to harvest the mature bulb is in the summer when the leaves start to wither. You should dig up all the bulbs and dry them until the outer layer feels papery. You can braid the leaves together and hang in the pantry to save storage space, or you can pickle scanned garlic cloves in vinegar. Last, but not least, you can dry nicely sliced cloves in the sun then make them into garlic powder. 6. Onion. Belonging to the same family as garlic and leeks, onions can be eaten fresh or made into dried onion powder, an excellent spice that perfectly goes with a number of dishes. How to grow onion. The best method to grow onions is from seeds or sets. You plant these in shallow tubs of rich potting soil. The important thing is to keep them moist at all times, but not too wet. As the bulbs grow, they start to become through the soil surface, showing that they are ready for harvesting. They achieve the maximum size when the leaves start to wither. Harvest the onions and hang them to dry. The outer coating should crinkle like paper. Next, slice the onions thinly and dry them in a food dehydrator. Finally, make it into powder and store in airtight bottles. 7. Saffron. This is probably one of the most expensive spices on earth, especially saffron produced from drying the stigmas of the mountain crocus, Crocus sativus. Homemade saffron is definitely the best you can get. But, as crocus bulbs easily rot in wet weather, the best way to grow them is indoors. How to grow saffron? Start by obtaining crocus corms from well-known nurseries. These are the planting material. Fill sand or gravel into the bottom of the pots. This is important for good drainage. Then add rich, well-draining potting mix on top of the sand layer. Press 2 to 3 crocus corms into the soil, then add more sand and soil mixture on top of them. Store the pots in an unheated room, but make sure there are enough bright grow lights or a few hours of direct sunlight. After a while, the crocus plants that grow from the bulbs will soon begin to wither. If you move the pots to a warmer room, you can easily trigger flowering. What you do next is pick the 3 red stigmas from each flower and dry them on a piece of parchment paper. Finally, store them in dry containers. Use a few strands at a time to add flavor and color to your rice recipes. 8. Paprika. Capsicum annuum is the mild chili peppers that paprika is made of. These thin-skinned peppers are ideal for this hot spice as opposed to the bell peppers, which are too fleshy. How to grow paprika? These peppers thrive in bright, sunny areas inside. Start by sowing the seeds in seed starting trays or directly into rich, well-draining soil. For best results, grow a single plant in each pot. You will need several plants to get a handful of the powdered spice. The best time to harvest the chilies is when they are ripe and bright red in color. First you hang them up in bunches to dry and then spread them in a single layer in semi-shade until they are brittle. The drying process doesn't end here, as you also dry the powder on a paper mat after grinding the chilies into a smooth or coarse powder. You should protect your paprika and dried chilies from dampness and mold by storing them in airtight jars. 9. Fennel. This sweet-tasting spice can easily be grown at home. It only takes a few plants of Phloeniculum vulgar dulce, or fennel, to provide enough seeds for use. However, be wary that the plants usually grow very tall and large, so you'll need to have quite some space in order to grow this plant. How to grow fennel? As fennel shouldn't be transplanted, sow the seeds directly in the pots. Press 2 to 3 seeds into rich, well-draining potting mix in each pot. You can eat both the fennel leaves, as well as the swollen, bulb-like bases, but in order to make the spice, you need to let the plants flower and collect the seeds. The flowers only take about 6 weeks to appear, and soon afterwards you get ripening fruits. You need to cover the plant with a paper bag and cut off the stem to collect them. Avoid direct sunlight when drying the spice. Store it in airtight containers. There are several ways to use fennel. Chew it as a mouth freshener or use it to make tea to soothe stomach upsets. It also makes a great addition to curries and confectionery. 10. Mustard. If you grow the spice at home, you also have the advantage of making your own mustard sauces with it. Mustard plants include various species like Brassica nigra, B. gentiana, and B. alba, all of which belong to the cabbage family and are easily grown from seeds. How to grow mustard? First, start the seeds in a shallow tray. Once the plants develop 2 sets of true leaves, transplant them into pots. You can use both the seedlings and the young leaves as greens, so thin out the plant according to your needs. The pots need sun and regular watering. The flowers are followed by thin, long seed pods that contain several seeds. These are best harvested before they burst open. What you do is cut off the stalks while they are still green, and then dry them in the shade inside a sack. You'll need to winnow the seeds in order to clean them. You can either use whole seeds for tempering, or you can grind them and mix with vinegar to make your own mustard sauce. While it's true that most of these spices can easily be obtained at supermarkets, homegrown varieties are far more beneficial in terms of nutrition as well as medicinal properties.